Apparently, according to Twitter, the Colts are interested in Mike McGlinchey. So I got to ask Jason, are you buying or selling this report, rumor, whatever you want to call it?
The problem is the account that it comes from, that NFL Rooms account. It's almost become a joke, like Dan Sileo at this point, where he's just like, yeah, this, and none of it comes true. But I'll say this.
Yes.
This actually does feel like it has legs, right? And when you look at the way the Colts build their roster and they want to build it in the trenches, right? Maybe the Colts are thinking, let's get him lined up with Quentin Nelson, let's get them together again. So, I mean, this guy could be completely wrong, but something about this feels like there has to be some sort of movement on the Colts' part, especially considering how they want to win, how they feel like building their team. So I actually buy this. It's just the person who keeps tweeting it has no good track record. But this sounds right. This sounds right.
Yeah, I agree with that. That aside, makes sense. It's like McGlinchey has been a serviceable right tackle at times. To me, he regressed last year, but we know why. I mean, Joe Staley left. He needs someone to hold him accountable. We've talked about all of that. He's like, he needs someone to lead him to the promised land. And Trent Williams, his attitude is like, you know what? It's not my job. I don't do that. Fine. Joe Staley took it upon himself. Quentin Nelson did it in college. Clearly, these two on the same line. Nelson was the alpha dog. I think the Colts would understand that. And if you bring him back there, it worked in college. It could work here. Maybe Quentin Nelson could get Mike McGlinchey to weigh 310 pounds if no one else in the world can. So that would make sense. But what would the Niners get for Mike McGlinchey?
That's really what it boils down to. So,
yes.
I mean, at this point, I think, and I'm probably going to get killed. I think you can get a second or a third for him, honestly, at this point. I don't think you're getting a first for Mike McGlinchey. Again, forget No. Hey, look, I hear you. Forget our analysis, right, on it. It's just I always feel like there's always coaches or teams out there that feel like, let me get my hands on him. I'm gonna fix him, right? And the Colts, did the Colts overpay for Carson Wentz? Do you believe?
That's a good point. They paid more than I thought the Eagles would get for him, and then they did do those conditional picks, which are interesting. But
and if he hits those snap counts, then those picks become whatever. And things
I would say,
like that.
They kind of paid a lot. I was surprised. Yeah,
right. And tackle's such a premium position. Like here's the thing: when he was brought in to run block. The problem is that he just hasn't really improved on pass blocking, which he thought he would by year 4, right? So I mean, go ahead.
Well, wouldn't the Colts be bringing him in to play left tackle? They lost Costanzo.
Yes, they did. Costanzo, right? So he would be right next to Nelson.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that really makes sense. Honestly, if they can unlock McGlinchey with him next to Nelson, it's worth the second round pick because I think so for them at least. And
I'm saying if the Niners can get a second, you just say thank you. Just say thank you.
Absolutely. Because then what you do is you can allocate your money to Trent Williams and then go address it in the draft. You might even be able to be, depending on where you are, Slater at right tackle. Again, you kind of laid it out. And that would be, again, having a guy like that under a rookie contract who you don't have the concerns with Mike McGlinchey. This doesn't feel like it's something out of the blue or that doesn't make sense when you really break it down.
I haven't watched a ton of Rashawn Slater, but I have watched some. And from what I've seen, he would be an upgrade over Mike McGlinchey. Now, he hasn't played in a year. Trent Williams had a little bit of rust coming off a year layoff. This guy isn't Trent Williams. He's a rookie. So he may not be an upgrade at first, but I think he'll be an upgrade over Mike McGlinchey. So if that's the route the Niners want to go, trade McGlinchey to the Colts or whomever and replace him with Rashawn Slater.
Yeah, that's really good roster building right there. The other thing is Dylan Redunz is somebody that's out there that can play tackle that was really good. He played at NDSU. They run a lot of the stuff that, are pro concepts, cow stuff. So he understands that. He's played really well behind, in front of Trey Lance. So that's another option. There's a lot of good tackles in this draft. And I think that, the 49ers would be foolish to not even explore this avenue, even if it's not happening. Like if you don't have this conversation about what can we do with McGlinchey and maybe upgrade the position, then I start to get scared. So they have to be having this discussion. Now, whether this rumor has legs, that's something different. But honestly, this rumor feels right. Like it feels like it's something that could work, a place where he actually fits, and they have a ton of money. So, I mean, it all kind of lines up, honestly. So I really think that this thing has legs. It's just, I wish it came from a more credible source.
True. And from the Colts perspective, it's like, okay, he's been playing right tackle on the Niners next to Mike Person, Daniel Brunskill, a revolving door at right guard. We could bring him in, put him at left tackle, and put him next to Quentin Nelson, who he's had a track record next to, who is the best guard in the league. And I mean, he could only do better. That being said, I see the logic. He'll break your hearts, Indianapolis. He will break your hearts. There'll be that one game where you're down 7 late in the fourth quarter and you feel like, man, we got this. And then boom, Mike McGlinchey does his thing.
That's really what amplified all of the Mike McGlinchey stuff, is that when he whiffed on a pass block, it was like the worst time.
At the end. At the end. Like 4 or 5 times this year. And you know what? If quarterbacks can choke, if kickers can choke, if wide receivers can choke, maybe right tackles can choke too, because he has a track record.